Halafiani, greetings. This is the Apetivi Ilosha Ola Omi Akalatunde, and this has got to be Oshun Television. I pray that everyone's winter solstice and holiday family time was good and peaceful and uplifting. Ours was nice. We went to Tennessee, to visit our family that's there. Enjoyed ourselves, had a good time. So now we're back. We've been home for a few weeks now and getting back into our regular routine. And I wanted to do a video to kind of bring some clarity to the wheel of the year and paying attention to cycles and the importance of that as far as our daily lives are concerned. So today, the children and I went out into our backyard and began to rake up the leaves back there and began the process of getting the ground ready for some planting. Um, I'm not sure how to word this next statement. I was raised in a pretty much rural community, and so my mother, even though she was a single parent and worked a full-time job, always grew food, in our backyard. And all of our neighbors always had what we called a garden, but what I'm sure people who are from a more urban environment would call a farm. We grew a lot of food growing up. So when I think about growing food, I don't necessarily think about it in a modern context or from a modern perspective. I just think of it as something that you have the opportunity to do. And if there is a particular vegetable that you really like or fruit that you really like, then you grow that. That's how I was raised. So within the modern context of, growing your own food and the need for organic foods and things like that, I'm not saying that I disagree with that, but I'm saying that in my life, it's something that we always did. Maybe from not necessarily thinking of it like that, but just thinking of it as a necessity. If you want to have a surplus of a food that you like, then you grow it. So we were getting our backyard ready for the process of growing food. One of the reasons that I chose today for us to begin this is because the 1st of February is traditionally understood to be a time when Earth Mother is beginning her stirrings, those first stirrings towards the all of the budding and life of spring. So this time is seen to be the time basically of conception going on within the womb of Earth Mother. And then it's in spring, we'll get to see all of the offspring, so to speak, of this conception time that's going on in Earth Mother. If we study ancient Wiccan um, text or lore, whatever you would like to call it, they refer to this time as Imbolc or Omic, I think is how you pronounce it. And in modern times, it has been co-opted by the Christian Church, the Catholic Church, and called Candlemas or Candlemas, and also Groundhog Day. This is a time when we check and see if spring is definitely on its way or if we're going to experience some more cold weather so that we'll know how to react. But we still also begin to get ourselves ready for the planting that's going to be necessary so that we can reap our harvest during the warmer months. So this time is a time traditionally for all earth-centered people. And I wanted to discuss just a little bit about that during this video. A lot of the earth-centered traditions that, or I guess I should say the earth-centered traditions that have the majority of literature and information out there are based upon the Celtic tradition. the Celtic tradition coming out of ancient Ireland. I don't have a personal issue with using the terms that come out of this tradition to describe these cosmological times because I understand that there are African origins to early European traditions. So anything that was an ancient European tradition prior to colonialization is an African tradition. And the truth of the matter is that when prior to colonialization, all of the people on the earth were worshiping Earth Mother. All of the people on the earth were revering Earth Mother at particular times during the real year, which is the earth moving around the sun. So, not necessarily speaking of the Gregorian year or anything of that nature, but the actual time of the earth moving around the sun, which is what a year is. So, these times and these cosmological happenings were celebrated by people all over the world. Unfortunately, due to the hemispheric differences, because being over here, we're in a different hemisphere, then I don't have the information about when they were done in different hemispheres or even the names that they were called. And that is something that I'm constantly studying and constantly trying to find, and so I will implement it and integrate it into my practice and into my study as I'm finding it. But for right now, I'm working with what I have because it is of paramount importance. It is, a necessity to work with the cycles of the earth, to work with the cycles of the cosmos. One of the greatest downfalls of so-called modern humankind is our tendency to act as though we are the only living thing in the cosmos and the only living thing on this planet. And it's caused us to be very, I guess, species centric. And in thinking like that, we have moved into practices and ways of life that are destroying the rest of the planet. So we have to move with the planet that we live on, which is living. Earth Mother Onile herself is a living, breathing, changing, growing entity. And we are beings living up on her. And she moves through a cosmos that is also living, breathing, changing, and growing constantly. And when you follow the practices that honor these cycles, you become more in tune to what's going on around you. You become more in tune with the entire universe, and you become more in tune with Earth Mother Onile herself. And if you are in tune with your source, your physical source is Earth Mother Onile. And from the perspective of our ancestors, the ancestors live inside the earth. They're not celestial. They are terrestrial. They are inside the earth. So not only is your physical source Earth Mother Onile, but your spiritual source is inside of Earth Mother Onile. So once you connect yourself to the cycles that she is moving through, it can only make you better. It can only fortify you. It can only help you to be more in tune and make you happier and make you healthier and put you that much closer to being whole, which then gives you what you need to fulfill your destiny, which is your reason for being here. That's your reason for being born. So I just wanted to give that aside because I am using the Celtic terminology for that. And being as how I live my life from an African-centered perspective, I wanted to make sure that everyone was clear why I use that particular terminology. So this time of year is celebrated as Imbolc, as the time when Earth Mother is stirring, as the time when that conception is occurring between Earth Mother Onile and Father, the masculine presence of God, that masculine portion of God. And so it's those things are things that occur not out in the open, but those are things that are sacred and holy, and so are kept kind of to yourself. So while those things are occurring beautifully and quietly, we will begin to see the fruits of those particular things, even at this time, but definitely as time moves forward towards the spring equinox, which is March 21st. So, Imbolc, what you want to do at this time, this is a time of purification. So this is any of these ancient sabbats or sabbats, Sabbats, are very good times to cleanse your body temple. So this is a good time to cleanse that. This is a good time to cleanse your home. And when I say cleanse, I mean get yourself a sage smudge stick and smudge your home. Remove negativity from your home. Also, what we are doing at this time is creating brooms. Imbolc is a season and a time in which we give honor to the masculine side of the God force in the universe. And so anything that is a phallic symbol is good to create that at this time. So if you use wands, this is a good time to create your wand. And the broom that we associate with earth-centered and earth-based traditions and earth-based cultures, and that in modern times is associated with the witch, which means, of course, she who practices the craft of the wise. And that particular implement, sacred implement, is very good to create that at this time. You use your broom to remove negativity from your space. Okay, even when you're cleaning with your regular broom that you sweep with in your home, you are removing negativity from your space. Okay, but your sacred holy broom that sits on your altar or that hangs on your front door, that too is used to remove negativity from your space. So Imbolc is a good time to create a broom, to actually make a broom that you're going to use for sacred purposes. So while we were out in the yard today raking our leaves so that the ground in our backyard will be able to breathe and receive sunlight and get those things that she needs to prepare her for the process of planting, then we also were gathering branches for the creation of our wands and for the creation of brooms. So we'll be doing that this week. My original plan was to do all of that today, but I had completely and totally underestimated the amount of energy and time that it was going to take to rake that backyard. So we'll have to do that at another time, and I'll, incorporate that into some videos as well. So this is that time. This is the time of Imbolc. The end of January, February 1st, and February 2nd. Those 3 days are your power days at this time. You're going to use this time for purification of yourself and of your home. You're going to use this time to focus on the masculine energy in the universe and what that particular power does. That is the animating force of the universe. So you have the feminine force of the universe, the sacred womb, and when the sacred womb is united with that masculine force animates that womb and takes all of that potential, the totality of power in the universe, and together those forces move forward. And I'm sorry, I'm tired. Just came in from the yard and I'm a little tired right now. So you're celebrating that masculine presence now. And I know that I myself in particular, and I'm not sure, the information that I research in the books that I read, I think that those of us who practice earth-based religions, probably as a reaction, tend to speak about the feminine force in the universe a lot. And this is not to say that that does not deserve its merit and doesn't deserve its time in the sun, but we want to create a balance. We want to have that balance. So this Imbolc time is the time where you praise and give honor to that masculine force in the universe, which is completely necessary. You can't create without both. So you give honor and power to that masculine force. And so you create these beautiful symbols, this wand, create this broom, that are beautiful symbols that actually praise and honor the phallus or the penis, which is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about that, you know? And we have to begin to move away from viewing sexuality as something that is bad. To view sexuality as something that is bad is to admit a very deep level of self-hatred. because none of us would be here without the sexual act. None of us would be here without the bliss that was experienced from our parents. And that bliss was created through the sexual act. So when we are creating our brooms, when we are creating our wands, it's good and it's okay to teach and to say, these are phallic symbols. These are beautiful symbols that give us the ability to have a focal point from which to honor the masculine force in the universe, from which to honor that force in the universe that comes in the form of a penis. There's nothing wrong with saying that. I say it to you and I teach it to my children. How are we going to gain a healthy respect and a healthy love for ourselves if we can't express openly and honestly that very act, and we can't express or speak about openly and honestly that very act that brought us here? You can't have a healthy love and respect for yourself without having a healthy view of sexuality and the act that brought you here. So this is that time when we honor that particular force. So from my perspective, for those of us women who are single, this is also, those 3 days are also excellent power time for conjuring your divine mate. If you are in the process of honoring that masculine force in the universe, then this is a wonderful power time to pull that masculine counterpart of yourself to you. So this is one of the things that I'll be doing in my Imbolc ritual, because I'm currently single. So I will be pulling my masculine counterpart to me during this time when I'm honoring the masculine force in the universe. Now, like I said, I'll do a video on this, but I want to make sure to put some information in this video for people who may want to start working on this and gathering supplies. So the colors for this particular time, if you wanted to create your own broom, and the broom, of course, it's just a regular broom with a handle and then some sort of straw or material hanging down from the bottom, just like a regular broom. But for me, I want mine to be decorative. So the colors for this time are red and white. Reason being is that from a Celtic perspective, there was a deity called Priapus, who was the deity that was the deity of the penis, basically. And his colors were red and white. The beautiful thing about that is, from an Ifa or Yoruba perspective, we have a deity of the penis as well. His name is Orisha Oko. Oko is the Yoruba word for penis. And Orisha Oko's colors are red and white as well. And the way that you see them is a little differently from how you would see red and white when it's used for Shango Kabiesi, because the Orisha Oko red and white is generally striped. So I will be decorating my broom and hanging it from my front door, which is what I'm gesticulating toward at this time, with red and white ribbons and with other implements that to me symbolize this return of life, this fertility coming from a masculine perspective, not a feminine perspective. Because, you know, when you do fertility from the feminine perspective, it's going to be these round things, these orbs, all of this that will symbolize the womb. From a masculine perspective, it will be all of these phallic implements and things that symbolize the phallus. So I have red and white ribbons. Traditionally at this time, you create a wand. And it's a regular wand, but then you place a a pine cone or an acorn on top, so that you make the wand look more phallic. And then you put the red and white ribbons on your wand, and you also place small bells on it. And then the children of the family ring the bells and wave the wand over the land of the home and ask for the mother goddess to make the land fertile. And the symbolism of that is that the wand, of course, is a symbol of the masculine God, the Father God. And you're using the energy of that to reawaken and to excite the Mother Goddess. So it's actually completely and totally beautiful symbolism, powerful and completely meaningful to us as human beings. You know, it fits, it makes sense, and it's not anything that's outside of the scope of our own personal possibilities. So you use the wand to pray for fertility over your land, any area that you're going to be planting. If you're in a small house or a small apartment, you can even wave your wand over a flower pot or any area where you're going to be planting food. And then you would create your broom and have your broom with your red and white ribbons and possibly your bells on that, or your pine cones and things of that nature on that. And I also would suggest that whatever straw you use at the bottom part of your broom, that you add wheat to that, which symbolizes abundance, and you add eucalyptus to that, which symbolizes protection. And so you can just add those to the straw, and that makes it more decorative too, and more beautiful. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna hang mine on my front door, and it'll be there until the spring equinox, or until the time when I begin to prepare to celebrate the spring equinox. And then I'll create a different wreath for that time. Please don't sit there right there. Put it back on the floor. Create a different decorative element for that time. So just wanted to speak a little bit about Imbolc and let everyone know what I will be doing. There are several videos on YouTube about how to create your own broom, which is also sometimes called a besom, B-E-S-O-M. So I would suggest viewing those to anybody who's interested. And be on the lookout, because I'll be piecing ours together, starting with the work that we did today and then moving forward into the actual broom making, so that we can have a broom making video of our own as well. All right. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for being here, kicking it with us, our loyal viewers. As always, I wish ecstasy, abundance, and bliss, love, prosperity, peace, and all of the blessings of Oshun upon those who wish the same for me. And I wish the lessons of life upon those who wish me otherwise. Ashe, ashe, ashe.